Hello, hello. This is Yuri of Moving Sales Professionals and Let's Talk Moving podcast. And with me today, I have Eddie Marx, Vice President with New World Van Lines, with over 26 years in the moving industry and just overall a stand-up guy. So I have him here with me. How you doing today, Eddie?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on, Yuri.
Good, good, good. Thanks for joining me. So how did you get started in the moving industry?
Easy one. I was born and bred into the business. Like many moving companies, I work for my family's business. I'm the fourth generation of the Marx family involved with New World Van Lines. We've been in business now for 105 years. We celebrated this year.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's one of the two. It's either you just fell into it by accident or you're in multiple generations.
Mhm.
I run into that a lot. Why do you love the household industry?
To me, this is one of the businesses where the cost of entry is very low, right? You look at we'll look at the trades because I think it's an easy comparable. Is you become a plumber, right? You got to go to school for it. You need to work as an apprentice for a certain length of time. You have a lot of investment in tools. And then eventually you hope to have your own truck and have your own business and then manage your own marketing and so on and so forth. In the household goods industry, you can get in with a good attitude, right? As long as you have a good criminal background, willingness to learn, people are willing to train and teach you, and you can very quickly rise up to become a Class A driver. Again, many moving companies have programs that are developed in order to help grow people into those positions. And then you can become a company driver or a contractor. As a company driver, not hard to make about low six figures. As a contractor, you can make a couple $100,000 a year if you hustle and know how to manage your business. So, I mean, when you start looking at it, you're like, how much money did I invest in order to put myself in a position where I'm making 150, 175, $200,000 a year? It's very little. It's just good attitude, good work ethic, and it's something that within a year and a half, 2 years time, you could be in that position. I think it's an amazing opportunity for people.
And now for a word from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com today to learn more.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. You definitely don't need a college degree to be successful at it. And frankly, this is the one industry where when you don't have a college degree, but you have a good head on your shoulders and you're willing to learn and you just pick up things quickly, where you can definitely succeed and be a, $1 million business in a very short amount of time if you're, like I said, if you don't have a college degree, but your head is in the right place.
You're seeing that picked up more and more by the large corporations too. Even some Fortune 100s are pushing back on the college mandated in order to have this position. They're looking more for work experience, foresight, ability to lead.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, I got my college degree, but it took me years before I finally, I finally graduated after multiple schools. I finally got my bachelor's degree in 2009, but I didn't start using anything related to my college degree until I opened up this company in 2018. So it took me 9 years before I actually used anything even remotely related to what I went to college for. So
Mhm.
I agree. It's sometimes the amount of money that you put in. I mean, our parents always tell us school, 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 right? But then you do it, you get the degree, and you find out, well, it's not, just because you have a college degree doesn't mean that you're able to find something immediately. I think it's a grand misconception that's out there, that just because you have a college degree, you're going to be able to have a house with a white picket fence, the American dream, right? But that's not
Absolutely.
necessarily true.
You have to put yourself in a position where you're continually able to learn, right? So going to different industry conferences are a great place where you can learn and mix
Sure.
it up with different people, get different ideas, read some more, watch all the YouTube videos that you possibly can, like your podcast, Yuri,
Thank
to
you.
help kind of educate yourself and build yourself up to that next level. But getting that piece of paper to hang on that wall to be able to utilize 9 years later, which let's keep it realsies, How much do you really remember from 9 years prior to that
Well,
point?
let's put it this way. I wanted to go to business school. I was thinking potential of going to law school, but what I found is that upper level math was just not my thing. Sit down, I can write a 20-page essay like nobody's business, but when it comes to level business calc, things like that, which I've never used since I've left college, I couldn't pass those to save my life. So it's also what you're good at and what you can adjust to. And some things like I'm very good at basic stuff, like I can do math in my head. But when it comes to like stuff that we don't use anyway in our daily life and we don't use in business, and you have accountants for stuff, a lot of stuff like that that you would potentially use things like that for. But even then, Excel, all the formulas are in there. You can find them. You don't have to be, a trained accountant to be able to calculate your own profit share or whatever. You can figure that out on your own just by
Yep.
learning how to use Excel. Things like that are out there, and definitely we need to make sure we need to be willing to learn at the end of the day, whether you have the education or not. It's not about that anymore. I think it's willingness to learn. It's being able to pick up things quickly. So I think those things are extremely important as well. Now,
I think one of the biggest downfalls of the industry too is, and it kind of going across the board, not just
mhm,
office staff or sales staff, you even look to a mover, when you lose the ability to learn and develop is your losing period, right? You need to be able to pick up different skill set from anybody and everybody in between, from the person that's sweeping the floor to the CFO of the company. Is there's something to be had from each individual.
Does your company need more creative marketing and ad campaigns to improve traffic and organic leads? Well, Moving Sales Professionals has a solution for you. We have partnered with social media marketing agency that has over 300 million views on their ads and videos across social media, and they have generated over $35 million for their clients over the last 10 years alone. Their services include content creation, social media ads, pay-per-click campaigns, website and funnel development, Google Ads, email marketing campaigns, lead generation, and much, much more. For limited time only, they have discounted rates for their services. Sign up for a free consultation call with us via our Calendly link on our website or below this video.
yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. So, Eddie, what are three most important things that a moving company owner should be focused on in order to build a successful moving company?
Processes, quality, and culture. I'm probably not doing the right order with that. I would.
You're right, not necessarily in that order, okay? No, 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 but those are good. Those are important things, and that's something that I would name as well because I mean, company culture starts with the top. So if you're treating your people a certain way, they're going to treat your customers a certain way. And I
Yeah.
think that that's extremely important. It's how you treat people. It's how you build a relationship. I like to think of my workers as a family, to a degree, because on some days I spend more time with them than I do with my own family, which it can be tough when you're running your own business, as you guys know. We all go through those parts of our life that sometimes are difficult because we want to spend time with our family, but at the same time, we need to do certain things and we need to spend time at work in order to make family life better in order to be able to take that extra vacation or whatever the case may be.
Hey,
And
I'm going to trash talk you real quick, Yuri. I have teammates here. I don't have workers. We're all teammates, right? We're all
okay.
in this thing together. I never look at something as an employee or that person works for me. That person works with me always, and that is the culture through and through.
Um, I would say that that's a toss up for me because
Mm,
I've had workers before, and I will say workers that didn't treat things that way, and they didn't when I would stop. So I'm hands-on in the training process. And once the person is off and I feel like I can trust them, I let them go and do what they need to do in order to be successful because they know what my process is, they know what my expectations are, and they generally follow. But there's always a but because you get those workers that say what you just said about being, team members and working with me, not for me, right? But at the same time, they're not doing the things that they need to do in order for that to ring true. So I have workers or teammates that have been with me for, at this point, probably since the start. I have people that have been with me for 4 or 5 years and counting, and they're doing great. And I 100% think of those people more so as teammates and my family. But then I've had people that are no longer here that, let's put it this way. If I show up at my teammate's worker's desk consistently and I'm suggesting, well, try this, try that, at that point, it's no longer really a suggestion. It's more of a very nicely put request or mandate to a degree once it's not being followed. So at that point, that person is not really anymore a teammate because they're not following the basics that would tell me, okay, you're doing what you need to do. I can let you be without having to watch you every second and spend my time watching you where my expectations are very direct and very clear. So I
Yeah,
think there's a fine line there.
the person giving the directive, again, I still look at it as being a teammate. And as somebody who has a bad attitude, they're not going to
Right.
be allowed the opportunity to continue to be a
Right.
teammate. I mean,
Right.
we all know that there's can be cancer within any organization, and when you
Right.
bring in the wrong person, that cancer can spread. So I do believe in terminating very swiftly. We have moved that mark very quickly over the
Right.
past several years at New World.
And I've
Um,
accelerated it myself too, because
yeah,
I'm definitely 100% with you because it's like the problem is that once we've spent certain amount of most of us, once we've spent certain amount of time teaching somebody, training somebody, we get to a point where we feel like we're responsible for that person and we feel like giving that person additional chances, even though that person may not necessarily deserve those chances because they don't follow your directives. So yes, we need to, and I'm guilty of that myself. I haven't done that in the past. That didn't necessarily put me in the best position, but I've learned my lesson the hard way. And yeah, absolutely. You can't, there's got to be, you got to give the people a little bit of a leash, but it's got to be a very short one.
yeah. But we've turned the conversation negative when talking about
Yes, let's go
culture,
back
which
to
is no
positive.
good.
Right,
Let's turn it back positive,
right.
right?
Let's,
I'm a big believer in you got to develop a goal together that's going to be obtainable and make sure we celebrate the milestones en route to that goal, right? Um, if you have something that is completely unobtainable, it's no fun, right? I want to have 100%, claims free on every job period and a story. That's my expectation. And that's a platitude, and it's one that you won't necessarily reach, unfortunately. But if you say, let's work together to make this a better company, here are our realistic quality goals, here's our realistic growth goals, here's our realistic claims metric goals here. And again, as we inch towards that, making sure that people are getting shout outs, making sure that they're a part of the process, making sure that we're celebrating all those wins together. I feel like that's something that really builds a big culture. This is a tough industry, and we always tend to. I always remember being out on the trucks when I was young and having conversations with guys, and they always look down upon somebody else as being, man, that job's really tough. That one's really difficult, right? Like somebody that was in the lawnmowers, right? These guys are getting beat up by the sun all day long, and they're just completely in the elements. We get to run in and out of those elements. I look often to a like somebody that's working in a kitchen. I just feel like that's such a thankless job, right?
right.
If you're just working, and I'm not talking about like a Michelin star rated restaurant.
Hmm.
I'm talking about if you're working at a cheesecake factory, you are just pumping out the food day in and day out. Those are the jobs that I look at that it must be so difficult to build a culture of positivity because you are just doing this monotonous task over and over
Right.
and over and over again. With us, it's a little bit easier because it's something different every day. There's always some different challenge. And to be able to shout out somebody that got an amazing customer survey or to be able to celebrate, hitting some metric goal or whatever, it's something that again it just brings people together. This is a brotherhood. We need to make sure that we're accepting that and celebrating it together,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of friendly competition. So there's certainly bonus structure on top of regular commissions that I offer to my people. So there's uh absolutely ways to do things. So yeah, I believe that there's got to be something in there if you hit that, there's got to be some sort of a monetary or otherwise value that inspires people to take an extra step. Like I had somebody recently who just had a couple of days where she was rocking, and each one of those days she managed to hit. She like scheduled 9 jobs, and I went, okay, you get me a tenth on any one of those days. You give me a 10 day, you get this much more. And from then on, it basically and it's a bonus for everybody now that exists. That if anybody hits that mark of booking 10 jobs in a day, there's going to be an additional bonus in there for them. So you got to inspire people, whether it's movers or office staff or otherwise. You want to make sure that they are interested in continuing doing the work. Now, besides the stuff that we're talking about, is there anything different or unique that you do that your competitors don't do?
So what I would say that makes New World unique within the industry, number one, is that we are the largest independent. I have 14 locations. We're not affiliated with any other major van line. We're not North American Allied, United, Atlas, right? We are our own thing. If you looked at us, we would be considered a large agent within that kind of agency system, 150, 200 trucks out on the road. Because of that, we're not tied to any van line policy. We can change, we can move, we're very nimble, right? So that's number one thing, or we can turn on a dime where you look at Unigroup, but that's a big ship to turn around, right?
Hmm.
Number two, we don't compete with our clients, right? We sell nothing but national accounts. It's 99% of our revenues that come in are from national account. We call our COD program our friends and family plan, right?
Right.
Because that's all it really is. It's somebody that we moved before that was a retiree. It might be a friend of somebody who works at our company currently. So that's not where we're focusing any of our attention on. But when you look at a company like, for instance, a smaller relocation management company out of the Midwest is WHR, right? And
Hmm.
WHR is getting sold to from Unigroup. They're getting sold to from North American and Allied. The problem is when they start feeding work into those other van line systems, those van lines own other relocation management companies, right? You
Right.
have Serva that's there, and Serva's going to say, well, man, maybe their client should be our client, right? And
Right.
it's almost opening your book of clientele to each other. With us, we're not there to compete. We have no interest in owning a relocation management company. We're there to serve the different relocation management companies, Altair, Airs, Serva as well, formerly BGRS. We can look at Lexicon, right? Lexicon's owned by a United agent. We don't compete with them in their field. In fact, we have a lot of direct client relationships and the indirect contracts so that sometimes we might have a direct corporate account that is looking for a different RMC, and we can bring that into another one of our RMC partners. Like, hey, we're having issues with company X over here, but you guys are company Y, and I think you're going to be able to help resolve issues for this corporation. So let's do a warm handoff in there, and then you can kind of get some rewards from that too, from the RMC. So there's a lot of opportunities in there, but that's one of our biggest differentiators is we're very nimble, number one, and number two, we're not in competition with our clients. We're there to support them, and that's
Right.
it.
Right. Well, that's great because I honestly believe in being flexible, and that's something certainly that we offer at Moving Sales Professionals is that we are flexible. We adjust to the needs of our clients, the moving companies, and we make sure so we serve different things between local and long distance, where we're willing to work internationally. I'm gonna be in UK this week, so there's gonna be a lot of stuff that we're going to do, and we adjust to our clients. And I think that adjustment is very important in the industry as a whole, whether you are a supplier or a provider like we are, or whether you're a moving company or whether you're a van line. I think flexibility is extremely important because when you're not flexible, you're putting yourself into a corner and you're limiting yourself with the opportunities that are out there. So now, Eddie, what are some of your goals for, well, 2025, since that's coming right around the corner here?
Yeah, 2025 is just a focus on quality. We know that the only way that we're going to gain more ground in regards of sales is going to be delivering amazing quality services to our customers. So we're deeply rooted in trying to, we're doing great. Don't get me wrong, things are great, but things can always be better. So right now we're kind of developing not kind of, we are developing a strategic plan in order to bring up some of the drivers that are performing a little bit on the lower end, again, that have the right attitude, and try to teach them some additional skills. It's a big investment in time and money, the plan
Sure.
that we have put together, huge money investment. However, we know for a fact that it's going to pay off in droves. So, that's one of our biggest focuses, again, is just delivering the highest quality services to our customers. And we know when doing so, we get rewarded with more work.
Right, and that's 100%. That once again comes to building your brand. You want to make sure that your brand stands for something, something good, because that's why it's the same thing. Like we only work with companies that are a brand, that care about their brand, that care about their quality, that care about their customers. That is so extremely important. Now, taking kind of off of that, what would be the biggest advice, Eddie, that you would give to new companies that want to enter the market?
Don't. I'm kidding. No,
Other than
there's
that,
there's a lot of opportunities in this industry, and I know of a few different people that have started a company that just busts their hump, and they have a truck or two, and then they end up growing that into 5 or 6 trucks. What I will say is this is bigger doesn't always equal better, right?
right.
If you have a company and you're making a good, healthy margin on it, and you are an expert at what you do, keep doing that and keep getting better at that thing. But the idea to expand to different facilities and work in different states and different metropolitan areas, getting interstate authority, that might not necessarily be the best thing to do, right? Um, there's small moves, small opportunities, and you can make a good living. You don't need to make millions of dollars a year to be a happy individual. And in the pursuit of doing that, you're probably going to invite quite a bit of headaches in your life. So that's what I'll say is do your job really well and focus on growing in your community. You don't necessarily need to attach yourself to a major van line or become an interstate hauler in order to make a good living.
Yeah, and I think it would be true to say that most of us that are in this industry and have been in this industry for a while, like yourself, like me, I've been in it for over 20 years myself at this point too. So I think we like the challenges. That's part of the things that allow us to tick is that we like the challenges, and we like at the end of the day being able to say, hey, I had this challenge and I was able to face it head on and was able to take care of it, and I was able to fix the situation. I was able to take care of the customer. I was able to do A, B, C, D, and feel good at the end of the day because you did a great job and you provided good service to somebody. So ultimately, we can talk about that stuff all for a while. Eddie, once again, thank you very much for joining me. It's always a pleasure. And like I always say, the world moves on its own, so let the professionals move yours for you. Thank you very
For
much for
sure.
joining, and we'll talk again soon.